Hey everybody, it's Alex from Old Man Playing Video Games Badly. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoins and Dogecoins and HODL and buy the dip and... Oh look, Bitcoin's crashing.
Old man playing video games badly.
So let me preface this by saying my interest in Bitcoin is kind of funny. I was there when Bitcoin was created, you know, when it first came around and it was pennies and not even a dollar and all that stuff, and you could mine it with your whatever GPU you had, and you know, you just run it overnight and you'd have a Bitcoin. Yeehaw, who cared, right? Most of us didn't even bother because it was just dumb at the time. And Bitcoin is, you know, obviously since grown, shall we say, and has been pushed as everything from the safest way to store data to the future of the economy to the replacement for money to, you know, there's a whole bunch of things anyway. More recently, it's become a bit of a weird kind of investment deal. There's lots and lots and lots of different coins kicking around, you know, famous ones like Doge and Ethereum. And my favorite this month, somebody came up with a new coin called Scam. Yeah, at least they're freaking honest. What can I say? But my interest mostly has to do with the fact that I play a game called Escape from Tarkov. There be the Tarkov logo. Escape from Tarkov is a Russian post-apocalyptic first-player shooter game. A little hard to explain, but it has its own economy because you need things to accomplish tasks and quests and to build up your hideout, to build your character up, and all those things like that. And one of the things in the game is that the base of the economy is tied in no small part to Bitcoins and Bitcoin mining. You actually mine fake coins in the game. But the trick is the price of coins in the game is pinned to the real world price of Bitcoin. So as the price of Bitcoin has gone up, the money you can get in the game has gone up, and it's completely messed the economy of this game up. It's actually been really funny. It's been stressful. It's driven the developers completely bonkers. Because the price of Bitcoin in the game went up by like a factor of 4, and it changed the value of everything else in the game, and people stopped doing what the game was supposed to be about, and they all started to just work to get the stuff to mine to make more money. It was really quite funny. So I've been sort of paying attention to that, but like I said, I pay attention to it because it's interesting to me because of my interest in Escape from Tarkov. Anyway. And unless you've been hiding under a rock, you know that the price of Bitcoin has been going up and up and up and up and up. In part because a lot of things going on, but in February, Elon Musk and Tesla announced that Tesla was holding $1.5 billion equivalent of Bitcoin, which a lot of Bitcoin. Let's be fair. At the time, it was, I think, around 30,000, give or take. So yeah, they'd be holding a lot of Bitcoins. There's not that many actual Bitcoins in circulation in reality. They held a fair big chunk of it. And to have a company like Tesla and somebody like Elon Musk express a certain amount of confidence in the idea of Bitcoin has helped to drive the price up, and other factors around it, and the price has gone up and up and up. And just over 30 days ago, the price peaked out at 63,200 and something, 237, I think it was. Well, the headline today, first of all, is that the price is down to 43,271, which represents, what, 35-40% drop in a month. If this was any other investment, it would be running for the hills because it's literally crashing. Tesla stock is down, I think, 20% for the year, and people are talking about it crashing and you should run away. Yet Bitcoin drops 40%, everybody goes, yeah, HODL. Buy the dip. When this first dip up here happened, so that was the 25th. So this it was only like 10 days after the peak. It had dropped already under 50K. So it had gone from 63K down to 50K. I was on Twitter and there was all these people out there going, buy the dip. It was trending. It was a trending term, top 2, top 3 trending term. Buy the dip, buy the dip. And HODL, HODL, which is hold misspelled and adopted as the term, the best term for it, as they say. HODL, HODL, HODL. Well, anyway. If you bought the dip right here, you're a bigger dip now because you're now $6,000 further in the hole. And the reason for this is in no small part because, well, first of all, Binance, which is one of the trading things, is apparently under federal investigation. But the price of Bitcoin traded below 45,000 on Sunday after a tweet by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, an outspoken supporter of the cryptocurrency, suggesting Tesla may be considering or may have sold off its Bitcoin holdings. And you got to watch this. Musk is amazing at, he's made some really dumb tweets, I do have to say, but he's really amazing at making pithy little replies and rejoinders that send people into a tizzy. An unconfirmed Twitter account called Crypto Whale said Bitcoiners are going to slap themselves next quarter when they find out Tesla dumped the rest of their Bitcoin holdings. With the amount of hate Elon Musk is getting, I wouldn't blame him. Musk is in real trouble because Tesla stopped accepting Bitcoin to pay for their cars because they realized just how much energy was getting used to mine Bitcoin. It's really stupid. Musk's reply, and this is classic, indeed. That's it. That's all. Indeed has been enough to contribute to a big chunk of this loss. Because if Tesla has sold some or all, or is in the process of selling their Bitcoin holdings, as much as that was a big boost to Bitcoin when they expressed their confidence in it, it's an even bigger stab to the stomach of Bitcoin for them to say that they're no longer supporting it. So there's a lot there. But for me, the real point really isn't the arm waving and the mechanics of the process that make it go up or down. To me, that's not really the important part. The important part is the idea of buy the dip and HODL. Because buy the dip and HODL goes against the very basic concept of investing, number one. And number two is it exposes Bitcoin for what it really is, which is a massive game of hot potato. If you never played hot potato as a kid, hot potato was all the kids would sit around in a circle. So you have like 20, 30 kids in a circle, and you'd have a ball, and that ball was the hot potato. Somebody would start playing music and put a record on, whatever, and you'd have to take the potato from this person next to you and hand it to the person next to you. And it would go around the circle and come back, and you'd have to grab it and pass it. And you didn't want to hold it in your hands because if the music stopped when you were holding a potato in your hand, you were out. Musical chairs, sitting down version of musical chairs. Bitcoin is exactly like that. And most coins are like that for that matter, because it costs you money to get in the game. And once you're in the game, you in fact own nothing. Or you own little digital ones and zeros worth on a ledger, but reality nothing. Remember, Bitcoin and most other coins have no actual reserves or backing behind them. They're not centralized in any manner. There is no central control. When you put your money in a bank, when you put your money in a bond or whatever, generally there's insurance against it. Generally there's reserve funds against it, and there's a form of value, even if it's not particularly value. There's kind of a form of value. Bitcoin, you get nothing. What you're doing with Bitcoin is literally you have just received the hot potato. You gave your money to this guy, he gave you the potato, and you got to figure out a way to get this guy next to you to give you more than you paid this guy for it, so he'll take the hot potato. And as long as you can keep doing that, you make money and you're rich, right? But the moment that people stop buying a hot potato, if the guy next to you won't give you anything for the hot potato, you're stuck. You've already paid out your 50 grand and he's not going to give you 50 grand. He's not even going to give you 40 grand. He might give you 20 grand because that's all it's really worth to him. There's no backup. There's no alternative. There's no nothing. Basically, there's no insurance or confidence behind it. You know, when you talk about fiat currency, and they all go, well, fiat currency is the same. Well, fiat currency is not the same for a bunch of reasons. One of which is that you have the strength and the reliability of the government that issues the currency to create the faith that the currency continues to be worth something and for people to exchange things in that currency. There is no such support for any coins anywhere as a currency replacement because no sane government wants to get involved in supporting Bitcoin. So much so that if you go look at China as an example, China is currently working on testing out digital currencies that have nothing to do with Bitcoin and have nothing to do with mining, and they are strictly a digital payment system because the future of currency is very unlikely to be this Wild West Bitcoin, spend $1 million to mine a block to find out what the answer is transaction system. The reality is digital currency will be about on par with your current credit card or your current ATM cash card, just sped up to the point where it's useful. Where I live, we use cards for access to the subway and buses, and also to buy things in convenience stores and restaurants and things like that. That is cashless, digital currency. You put money in the top, the money is held in the system, and you can spend the money through this digital means. And it is as fast as going beep. That's it. You go into your 7-Eleven, Circle K, whatever, buy your Slurpee. Your Slurpee's $5, put it on the counter. They go $5 and you go beep and it's done. And there's no cash. The transaction's done. Everybody's happy. You didn't have to wait for it to get mined. It didn't take 3 days to transact. It happened instantly. Digital currency and Bitcoin are not the same thing, and it's a mistake that a lot of people make. And they convince themselves that Bitcoin has some grander purpose than nothing. And that grander purpose somehow makes it so that the future of currency is there will be no currencies anywhere in the world. They'll only be Bitcoin. No more dollars, no more nothing, only Bitcoin. But the reality didn't work because the process under which Bitcoin transacts is just too burdensome and too stupid and has no support behind it. So at some point, Bitcoin and all these other coins will very likely fail, or they will continue to be at best a sideshow. Governments will move to digital currency. There is little doubt about it. The freedom from oversight, freedom from government looking over your shoulder types will fight it to the very end. But the reality is being able to go beep to pay for something rather than having to carry cash and make change and all those things removes a lot of friction from the marketplace. It also makes it much easier for the government to see where the money's going and get your taxes. So pluses or minuses, I don't know, but that's kind of where the universe is going. Carrying around pieces of pieces of metal and pieces of paper as representations is nice, but at a certain point it's starting to become very, very pointless compared to the other options that exist. Bitcoin really isn't going to be part of that future, I don't think, because I don't think that it transacts very well. The time per transaction can be really, really long. Bitcoin is really, really not useful for buying something. If you go in a store and you want to buy something with Bitcoin, if you have to wait for the transaction to actually go all the way through, it can take a long time. If you are not willing, as a merchant, not willing to take the risk of waiting for the transaction to happen, and instead you say to the customer, well, I can't give you the goods now, you got to wait until I get confirmation that the transaction occurred, it slows your business down and drives the person to probably go pay with cash and probably buy from somebody else just to spite you. So there are people out there who are investing in Bitcoin like they believe it's a solid future and like it has a solid backing and all that. It's not. It's a black hole. You put your money in and you hope like hell somebody will pay you out at the end. If nobody pays you out, your investment, air quotes on it, has absolutely no value. So the price of Bitcoin dropping to 43,271 this morning. I think I saw 42,000 at one point. Is perhaps a sign, but it's also a sign that the coins themselves don't have any real value. And it really is only what people will pay you for it today at a given moment. That's it. That's all. It has no basis in reality. So everybody who's yelling at you to hodl or buy the dip, what they're actually asking you is, please put enough money in the system so that I can sell off my Bitcoins and actually make my money back. Because they made the mistake of buying something with no value with the hope that somebody else will buy something of no value from them later on. The other thing I will say, there's a whole bunch of, I believe they're called EFTs, which are or NFTs, non-fungible tokens that are attached to certain things, exclusive images or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I find them very interesting because it is kind of the more useful, almost the only thing of actual use that you can do with Bitcoin, which is you create ownership of something that can't be taken away, can't be lost, as they say. But at the same time, it's the ultimate proof of the shell game that all of this is, because people are selling things that have absolutely no real value for money. The picture of the young girl in front of the burning house looking kind of unconcerned or whatever, that girl sold that image, even though that image is everywhere in the universe and it's been memed until the end of the universe. She sold it as part of an NFT for like $500,000. Why? It's worthless. But that's kind of how that works. So there's a lot of money flying around. There's a lot of things going on, and you know what? If you are a savvy investor and you're willing to take the risks, there is a lot of potential in coins to make a lot of money, I will admit. But all of that money is basically shearing the sheep, because you only get paid out when some other sucker buys in. So, deal with it as you can. So this kind of explains why I don't really own any Bitcoin. I'm not really involved in it. Like I said, I mined it for a while and got completely screwed by a mining company who basically said, if you didn't access your account in a certain number of days, we'd just take your coins, have a nice day. That was one of the things I loved. I paid for a couple of blocks of mining service for 12 months, and I made a half a Bitcoin or something like that. They made it really difficult to get the coins out to start with, and then it got to the point where it was not worth, because of the price crash about a year and a half ago. It got to the point where the value of Bitcoin wasn't worth the effort to get it out, and then they termed the account, and took my half a Bitcoin. I hope it makes them happy. And to me, it was funny because I'm not particularly upset about it, because the moment I bought the mining, I had committed to the idea that I just lost the money, that it was just, I'd piss the money down the toilet and we'd see if anything came of it. Nothing came of it, as expected. I won't say Bitcoin is a scam, but I will tell you, it has all the hallmarks of the worst combinations of hot potato, pump and dump, and a pyramid scheme. So if you're going to invest in it, invest wisely. Anyway, I am the old man playing video games badly. Thanks very much for listening to me ramble on about Bitcoins and HODLs and all that stuff. Elon, if you're watching this, give me a tweet. Make me internet famous. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Old man playing video games badly.